It's no surprise that humans have played a huge role in the habitat destruction of many wild animals, and the World Wildlife Fund wanted to look into this to see how much damage we've caused between 1970 and 2010. Well, we have a scary chart for you that shows you exactly what's happened to the populations of these species. There's been a considerable decline from 1970 to 2010. Now, it's kind of difficult to tell exactly how much damage we've done just by looking at that chart, so let me give you some more information based on their study. Between 1970 and 2010, there has been a 52% decline in wildlife populations. About 3,000 species of wildlife around the world have seen their numbers plummet far worse than previously thought, according to the new study by one of the world's biggest environmental groups, of course, the World Wildlife Fund. I should let you know that it is a representative sample of the wildlife that they're talking about. They're specifically looking at vertebrate animals. And so the latest Living Planet study analyzed data from about 10,000 populations of 3,038 vertebrate species from a database maintained by the Zoological Society of London. It is meant to provide a representative sampling of the overall wildlife population in the world, and that's according to the editor-in-chief of the World Wildlife Fund. In the new study, hunting and fishing, along with continued losses and deterioration of natural habitats, are identified as the chief threats to wildlife populations around the world. Other primary factors are global warming, of course, invasive species, and pollution and disease.
So a couple of things need to be clarified here. First of all, we didn't kill off 52% of all the species.
Right.
The population of all the species has been reduced by 52%.
Right, on
okay?
average, yeah.
On average, okay. So some species, rare species, have actually gone up in terms of population, but a lot of them have gone down, and some dramatically so, okay. It's not talking about extinction of the species, it's talking about the overall numbers of how many animals there are. 52% is a giant number, yes. Right? And the overwhelming reason for that is because of one animal. It's a Homo sapien, okay? It was us. We did it. We're the virus. Okay. Now, I'm not surprised by any of this. Of course, we've grown these giant cities. Our population has exploded in growth. Right now, we're over 7 billion people on the planet, and we're squeezing everything else out. And we're destroying their habitats and global warming and all that stuff. Now, on the other hand, I'm for the humans. Okay, so I hope that we can do it in a more sustainable way, which we have not really mastered at this point. What I'm saying is, of course, we were going to, have an enormous effect on other animal populations as we were growing in size. But now that we have done that, now that we're conscious of it, can we start to achieve a better balance? Like, I think what I'm saying is really reasonable, but a lot of consumers are like, no way, man, screw the animals.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to find a balance. Like, hey,
yeah,
I want us to do well. I don't think we have to go back to like caveman times.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, I don't want the animals to die off.
This is why it's important to have regulations. It's important to have regulations when it comes to hunting, deforestation, I should say, and to have these wildlife reserves, right? It's not hippie BS. It's us protecting species, populations of animals, right? We are a virus. We keep populating this planet, more and more people. Overpopulation in some cases is a big issue, right? Because we have limited resources. And that's the reason why you have these major meat packing plants and these major meat factories, and you have all these unsanitary conditions. It's because there are a lot of people who want to consume a lot of meat, right? That's kind of a separate issue, but it's related. It's related.
See, that's why I think I'm somewhere in the middle on this.
Yeah.
Because I like to eat meat. I like tacos, right? And I don't want to really stop doing the things that we're doing. So that's why a lot of liberals would get upset at me and stuff. Sometimes I'll have the lights on in the living room and the TV room.
Damn.
Okay.
Wasteful.
Right? And sometimes I'll have big fat steak and I'll love it. Okay. So, but I think that there is a reasonable middle ground where we don't have to be like, ha, animals, gotcha. Right? I mean, I feel like the conservatives take it to some insane extreme. Bless you. That's a very cute sneeze. It's very cute. Finally, I want to give a different take on this as well, because in the midst of this article about how we're killing the animals, they just threw in the fact there about what actually causes the most amount of death. Let me give it to you.
Super interesting.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
Okay. Much of the world's wildlife has disappeared in what have been called 5 mass extinctions, which were often associated with giant meteor strikes. And let me give you more details. About 90% of the world's species were wiped out around 252 million years ago. One such extinction, about 66 million years ago, killed off the dinosaurs and 3 out of 4 species on Earth. So I said, whoa, wait a minute now. You tell me all this stuff about the global warming and the deforestation or whatever you call it. Okay, all right. Anyway, so, but it turns out what we really got to watch out for is the frickin' meteors.